I'm from Edmonton,
Edmonton, yeah.
actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you been to Calgary lately?
I haven't, but I am coming down for the Canadian Country Music Awards, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. How did this all happen for you, and where did this passion and love start?
So originally, my mom was an adult contemporary artist, and when she actually put out a country children's album when I was very young, and so she's been a songwriter forever. Her interest in music genuinely, I guess, caused me to have an interest in music as well. And it's just been a cool thing growing up. We wrote a lot of songs together. We still write together. It was always a part of my family dynamic,
Yeah.
and I'm super grateful for it.
So you grew up in Edmonton. What was that like for you?
I mean, I loved growing up in Edmonton. I feel like there were a lot of opportunities there. I did a lot of arts related things, dance, singing. I was in my school play,
Love it.
singing and dancing. But it was really a great place to grow up. We went on a lot of walks in the river valley, which I'm sure if you've been to Edmonton, you'll know it's a beautiful river valley, and there's just so much opportunity to be in nature there. And so I love it for that reason, and also for the fact that my family and friends live there.
Something that resonates with me is your songs, especially the story you tell yourself. It's something I talk about a lot is inner dialogue and how important that is for humans to find self-worth and value. And oftentimes through this pandemic or what we've gone through, you know, it was a time of reflection, self-reflection, most importantly, to see, are you comfortable within your own skin? Are you okay with being you? And when I heard that song, I was just like, holy smokes, this is a home run of something that needs to be told. And what you say in there, I think it resonates with everybody. So how did that come about for you, the story you tell yourself?
Well, I really appreciate you saying that it resonated with you. That was our main goal. I wrote the song with my friend Alex Hughes, who's a country music artist and songwriter in Calgary, actually. And she and I met throughout the pandemic, or met during the pandemic, I should say, and started writing a bunch of songs together. And we were talking about social media. And while social media has a lot of positive impacts, it can also weigh on our self worth. And specifically, during the pandemic, I feel like a lot of us were spending more time on social media. And it was just a reminder we wanted to send out to other people to believe the best about themselves and their lives. And the pandemic was
Hmm.
confusing, scary, a lot of unknowns. And it was a time of reflection for myself personally. And I'm sure for a lot of people out there, where it was just like, you know what, where do I find my worth? Where do I find my value? Especially for people who had lost jobs and things like that. And um, I think sometimes people find it online too, and it's not wrong. But at the same time, I just think it's important for people to remember that they are strong, they're brave, beautiful, or handsome,
Right.
one of
Absolutely.
a kind,
Yeah.
and like no one else. Because I truly believe that. I truly believe not one of us is the same, and that we all have unique passions and interests that are very needed in
Yes.
our world. And I want people to know that and remember that about themselves.
Yeah. Why the genre of country versus pop or rock? What made that genre resonate with who you are as an individual?
I definitely grew up listening to country music. Shania was obviously one of my main idols, I should say. And I call her the queen of country. I also grew up listening to Randy Travis. I feel like Alberta in general, there's a high population of country fans, and I know my family was amongst them. It still is. Um, I also just like the fact that country music tells stories, and not only tells stories, but you can talk about, I mean, people often say, oh, they only talk about trucks or things like that, but I I beg to differ.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of opportunities now, especially to talk about a variety of subjects, whether it's love, trucks, self-value, self-worth, or even faith. And those are things that are all important to me. And I just think there's a real opportunity to showcase not only a story, but also a meaningful story if you want to do that. Or if you just want to write a party song, I mean, I'm here for it too. But
Absolutely. Hey, everything is needed, right? For the
yeah,
right time.
exactly.
Yeah.
That being said, I do love pop music. I love the catchy melodies and kind of like the variants and things you can do with pop music, which is kind of why I would say I married the two or attempted to at least. And I love country and pop. And that's why I would say I kind of ride in the middle between the two of them because I do too like writing upbeat, fun melodies. And
Did you watch the Shania Twain documentary?
I have to admit, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm incredibly excited to watch it.
Yeah,
I
it's
watched the
amazing.
Taylor Swift one. Did you watch it?
I did. It was amazing. I loved it. I was like, holy smokes. I think when you storytell, it it shows a different side of someone. I think something like
Mhm.
the podcast is great because it's not like I can only see your video or your photo. It's who's Ella, right?
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. It humanizes the brand, and I think that's super important in today's era.
Well, I think people want to know who people are. It's like even getting to meet you is special because it's like,
Thank you.
getting to meet a new person, hearing their story, hearing, what got them to where they are now. And I think it just, like you said, humanizes the brand, but also just is relatable where you're like, oh, you're just a regular person too, like
Exactly.
as we all are. And it's like I mean, people might look at us and be like, oh, we're doing something cool and different, like a podcast or releasing music. But at the same time, I feel like everybody is doing something cool, whether they believe it to be cool or not.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, maybe someone's starting a new business. Maybe someone's, got a promotion at a job. Maybe someone's, meeting people every day at a coffee shop and making them feel special. It's like everybody, I believe, has a purpose. And I'm just happy to be doing what I believe mine is.
How do you stay so positive and find things such as the light bringers in oftentimes a dark world?
I'd say because I'm Christian, my faith plays a huge part in that. Also, just trying to be grateful for things. I do read books about positivity. Try and surround myself with other people who that's their goal as well. One of my closest friends, she's probably the most positive person I know. She calls herself a Pollyanna, but it's um, but that being said, it's just looking at the good things in life. And I feel like, I mean, day to day, we could all look at the negative things that happen, getting cut off in traffic or, something going wrong, burning
Mm,
toast, whatever. I mean, those are mild examples. I mean, obviously people are dealing with more
of
uh,
course.
difficult situations, if you will. And I think even in difficult situations, you can still see light in hardship. Whether it's, having a good conversation with a friend or doing a podcast
Mhm.
or, reading a good book or the sunshine or even just like looking at the things in your day that went well, I think is something that I've tried to do more often. Tried, especially during the pandemic, because I feel like that there was dark elements to that as well, but just maintaining, okay, you know, filling your mind with good things. And I think that's something I've really learned over the last 2 years is,
Mhm.
you know, it's so important to focus. I mean, you can focus on good things, but it also is like, what do you fill your mind with? Like what books, what shows,
Mhm.
what music and things like that. And so I too wanted to release something that I felt like would make people feel good. And
Absolutely.
that's always my goal with music is to make people feel good and to relate to them. So
Mhm. It's about being grateful and knowing what you have today. You got to appreciate it and know that it might not last, right? So it's these moments
exactly.
today, now.
Yeah, like savoring those moments while you're in them and not wishing you were somewhere else or doing something
So
else,
true.
whatever.
Yeah. How important has faith been to you, and how have you been able to connect with it to help you day to day?
I feel like my faith is everything to me. I mean, it affects all the decisions I make. It affects how I think about life, how I think about people. I recently was at church the other day, and they're talking about doing everything in love. And I'm by no means perfect, but I mean that is a goal for me to what I say, what I do, the music I release. I want it to be uplifting, positive, loving, in the sense that it's like I want people to know that they're loved. And I think um, it's something that some people, and I mean, at times I've struggled with as well. And it's a matter of knowing that you are loved and knowing you are made with a purpose. And I just believe that about every single person. And so I guess that's kind of what I've gained from my faith in terms of like giving out to other people. For myself, it's given me security, it's given me hope, it's given me just a reason to live. And so I'm grateful for it.
Oftentimes, people that have gone through some of the toughest moments, and tough moments can be hard on every or each and every individual differently, right? Your
Mhm.
heart is different than my heart, and vice versa. Had you gone through some tough times or dark moments within, and that is also one of the reasons why you said, you know what, I want to put love first. I want to put happiness and joy first, not only for myself, but for others as an expectation.
Yeah, I think definitely there are hardships that I've been through,
Right.
difficult times, and those are trying on your faith, on your mental stamina, sometimes physically. And I think it's just a matter of, okay, that's when you really have to lean into to something. And for me, that's my faith in family and friends, and I'm just incredibly grateful that I've been surrounded by a group of people who love me, care for me, and are there for me during those times, because it can be difficult. It's difficult to go through things alone. And I want people to know that they're not alone when they go through things, even though it might feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's a group of people out there who are probably going through the same thing, whether it's, like I said, mental, physical, emotional, or whatever it is. Um, I just want people to know that, like I said, they're not alone and that they're loved. So,
That's beautiful. When you look at social media and you say, okay, there's this negative notion to it, yes, there's a lot of positive. Obviously, you and I connected through that.
yes,
Um,
grateful for that.
exactly. So there's a lot of great things um, being discovered. That's one thing for artists or
Mhm.
podcasters, whatever you want to call it. What are some of the negative things that you have seen or heard of uh, that people feel neglected or not worth
Like online.
online? Yeah.
Online, I'd say when people attack other people for their posts or their views, or they might
Right.
say, I don't know, that's not a good photo, or like, why would that girl post that? Or,
Mhm.
people will make very negative comments or even judgments based on what people post. I know some of my friends and myself included at times, people make fake accounts and send out messages to people. And, that too is kind of like, why would someone do that? But in terms of the self-worth aspect, I would say it's when people attack people based on you. It's usually how they look in what they posted, or why didn't that girl wear
Mm,
makeup? Like I can speak from the female
the
side of
female
it.
side, yeah.
Um, but I know I guess that's kind of what spurred us on to write some of the lyrics of our song, is like, if I wiped off my makeup and I let my roots show, like I didn't get my hair done, like, would people still like it and heart it, or would they be like, nah, I don't want to watch this anymore? Like, because I feel like a lot of times we have to be our best online,
Hmm.
and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's great to celebrate things and show your best online and put your best foot forward. But I also think that there's sometimes a pressure to do that as well. And that's kind of something that Alex and I talked through when we wrote the song, The Story You Tell Yourself. And I know more recently, I've been more apt to share not only the photos where I look my best, but I've shared a couple where, maybe someone would think I didn't look my best. But um, at the same time, I mean, that's not where I find my worth.
Yeah.
And so it's a matter of, just people remembering who they are, and that what someone says online, whether it's positive or negative, doesn't directly affect your worth, even if it makes you feel good or bad.
Right.
And I know sometimes people online can just be mean because they're behind a camera, pardon me, behind a computer or a phone. And I just think that it's a matter of remembering who you are,
Mhm.
regardless of what people say.
It's it's not only the comments, it's maybe the likes, how many likes I got on this post, or how
Yeah.
many followers I have versus XYZ. So maybe people don't really like me, and it's definitely not the
Yeah.
case at all.
No, I know. I've had the like problem too before. I'm like, oh,
Of
I only got
course, we
this
all
many
have.
likes on this post. Like, should I take it down?
Yeah.
It's like, no, because this many people did like it. So
And
yeah,
it's great that, you and I can speak about this, because we hope that anyone that's listening or watching to this can also realize that you are not alone. Anybody, whether you're an artist or
absolutely.
someone that's podcasting, or a photographer, you can realize, holy smokes, you thought that was a great post, and you might get
Yeah,
10 likes and wonder what
totally.
the heck happened here.
Yeah, I mean, the Instagram algorithm now is kind of also
Oh,
crazy. So I feel like that has impacted engagement online as well. And I think, I mean, if people are feeling bad now that they're getting less likes than before, I don't think it's necessarily directly related even
no.
to the post or what it says. It's also just the algorithm as
Yeah.
well.
Blame it on Instagram, not yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's awesome. Have you been to a CCMA before?
I have. I've been to several, and I'm very excited to be going this year to see some of my friends perform and
Hmm.
just to connect with everybody again. It's been an interesting time over the last couple of years just due to the pandemic. And I know last year I didn't have the chance to go because it was the other side of the country. But this year it'll be in Calgary. So you'll definitely have to check it out, Zach, if you're in
Absolutely. I
town.
actually will be there.
Oh, good.
Uh, through the CCMA, actually, they're bringing me on.
That sounds awesome.
It does. It's gonna be kind of
Yeah.
cool. It'll be my first time. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll love it. I feel like the country music community in particular, and this is also why I love being part of country music, is so welcoming. And everybody is just for each other and supportive. And I know some artists who have, high acclaims and in awards, but yet they'll still, be very chummy and outgoing and get to know everybody, and
Mm,
including myself or other independent artists or creatives. And it's just cool.
yeah.
It's like it sometimes feels like there's no distinction, if that makes any sense.
And
It's like
no ego, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah.
yeah, it's a really cool group to be part of. And so I'm excited for you to experience it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Anytime anyone's in my car, all it is country music. My playlist, country music. So people
That's
often wonder,
awesome.
what? This guy loves country music? I like other genres, but there's something about country music that just hits home. Yeah.
I'm the same with you. I feel like turning on a country song, it just is, it feels grounding. It feels like what I'm supposed to be listening to, especially in Alberta.
Oh
Like,
yeah. And I just go on the prairies and I crank the country music, and just there's something about it. I'm like, this is heaven.
yeah, that sounds
This is
perfect.
yeah, the car might break down, but I don't care.
Yeah,
This is where
yeah,
I'm supposed to be. And there's something about a feeling,
exactly.
the soul in country. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
I feel like I love your point of this is where I'm supposed to be. I love that feeling when you have that in life where you're just like, in this moment is exactly where I'm supposed to be right here, right now.
Hmm. And you
And
get the
that's just,
chills,
pardon?
and you get the chills, and
Yeah,
yeah.
totally. And it's cool that you have that with country music. I like that a lot.
Ella, when you go out there and perform, um, how do you deal with stage fright and getting nervous? Does that still happen?
I feel like there's always an amount of nervousness before a show. One of the things I like to do is use positive affirmations. So to be honest, I have a little process that I'll do right before I go on, whether it's just quietly saying to me like myself like this is your show, this is what you're meant to be doing right now, and just kind of encouraging myself. And that's why I think that self talk is so important, because I know you can, I mean, right before you do something important or something that matters to you, I feel like that's almost when you feel even more nervous in a way. It's like, oh my gosh, this is a big opportunity, or this is an opportunity where I have a chance to be a voice to something that's important to me, in particular music. And I just definitely believe in speaking positive words over yourself. That's something that I definitely do. I usually do a few jump up and downs or whatever, get like ready physically.
Start
But
pumping yourself. I got this.
yeah,
Yeah.
pumping myself up. That's exactly what I'm
Yeah, I
doing.
love it.
But that's definitely how I kind of go through the process.
Mm.
And I don't know, in a way, I kind of like to step away from the group right before I perform. I don't know um, how other people are necessarily, but if I'm in a group or I'm like chatting with people, I can't do that right up until I perform. I need to step away, have some alone time, and then
Yeah,
be ready to go
yeah.
and be 100% on.
You're getting in the zone. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
Hmm. So I was wondering would you want to sing this song that is about your dog?
Oh, I was like, what song? um, I can tell you the lyrics are not that good.
Not that good. Yeah.
Um, they were very simple, I'll say.
That was the
Um,
rap.
it was a rap for a 6-year-old rap, and my mom found the lyric sheet recently, and she's like, "I'll save this for for the future when you
Yeah.
like get a number one or something.
Exactly.
We'll bring out the lyric sheet for the rap about the dog." No, my dogs were always important to me growing up, and I feel like being a musician, a lyricist, a songwriter, I always write about what's important to me. And as a 6-year-old, my dog was important to me.
Love
And
it.
now other things have taken precedence over the dog. Uh, but I could do a remake, maybe.
Totally a remix of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has the Canadian, I guess, ecosystem for country music and its artists been very supportive? And are you seeing more artists come and stay or go?
That's a good question because I feel like there is a big community for artists
Right.
here in Canada. I also would say that a lot of Canadian artists go to Nashville as well. I do think that there's a supportive system in both places. Um, and I think in places like Alberta specifically, I can speak to because I'm from there and I know the country music community there. Everybody's great, everybody's talented, and it's cool to know that other people are supporting you, rooting you on. I've had the privilege of working with a radio promoter from British Columbia who was amazing,
Nice.
marketing team from Toronto. And I just feel like, and there are people who work with a lot of Canadian artists as well. I feel like there's also supportive teams.
Mhm.
And it's obviously when there's success in someone's career, it's not just them. And that's something I think that people just see online. It's like, oh, all they see is the artist. But what you don't see is the people behind working alongside you, whether it's your co-songwriters, or if it's, your promotions team, or if you have a manager, like, or and things like that. I just feel like there's always a team behind success. And I don't think success can be achieved individually, and it happens, but I also think it's special to celebrate
The
with
people.
a group and with other people
Mhm.
when you achieve your goals. And so, to answer your question, definitely there's support
Nice.
in Canada,
Yeah.
and also in other places. I mean, it's amazing how many people around the world love country music. It's just kind of cool to see some of the people who listen to my music most are in Brazil, ironically.
Wow. That is
And
unique.
I had no idea that that's who I would reach. And I mean, obviously people in Canada listen to my songs too, but it was just a real eye opener for me when I looked on Spotify and found that that's who's listening.
Who's listening? When
Mhm.
you look at Alberta, do you think we could ever make the Nashville of in Canada, Alberta?
I think so too. I'm
Hmm.
Edmonton specifically is a sister city to Nashville. Um, and I definitely think that places like the Blue Jay sessions, I don't know if you've heard of that in
I have.
Calgary, but I think that Dan has done a great job of putting together, kind of making a community around that, around songwriting performances. And I mean, that's what Nashville does a lot, is songwriter rounds. And I think he's done a great job of bringing that specifically to Calgary and Alberta. And I do hope that that continues, because I think there are so many incredible songwriters in Alberta, and just to even have the chance to share new music or unreleased music is cool, because not every songwriter is an artist either. I mean, a lot of artists are songwriters, but not all songwriters are artists. And so I think it's cool to give them an opportunity as well, to share new music. And I just hope that that continues, because I think songwriters are often the people behind
Of
the
course.
music. And it's just cool because I mean, that's one of my favorite parts about
Yeah.
music in general is songwriting. And so I'm very passionate about it. And I love the fact that people who don't usually perform can have an opportunity to
I
perform.
love it. When you're writing songs, are you finding inspiration from anything and everything? Yeah,
Absolutely. I feel like
super cool.
sometimes it's based on, something that I'm going through personally or something I've been feeling recently. And sometimes it's just what I heard someone say, like maybe in a conversation with a friend, or, watching television and someone said something that sparked an idea in my mind.
Mm,
I often have what I call my little black books. And
I love it.
they're not filled with phone numbers, they're filled with songwriting ideas.
Yeah,
And I love writing them down when I have a thought that I think, okay, maybe this could be a song. And I keep a lot of those. Sometimes I just write it in notes on my
right.
phone, as we all do,
Yeah,
a quick note to ourselves.
exactly.
But I definitely gain inspiration from all kinds of places.
Do you physically write or do you type a
I
song out?
typically type. I think
Mhm.
that there is something special about writing it down on paper. I think a few years ago I did that a lot, and I filled an entire book of songs I had written. And the kind of cool thing, I mean, a lot of times I'll rewrite songs if I think they could be strengthened. And one of the songs I remember writing this book I had been scribbled out and rewritten. I mean, on Google Docs, it's clean. It's like, oh,
Like,
you just delete it. But it's like, it's also cool to see that process of scratching things out, erasing them. And sometimes you write in pen. So you're like, oh no, now this doesn't look like a clean sheet of lyrics. But I think, I mean, that's what the computer's for, to do something
yeah,
professional looking. But I also think it's cool to write things down. I think your brain works differently when you write
yes.
things on paper.
Imagine using a typewriter
Oh, can you imagine?
or a feather with ink.
Oh, yeah. I'm not jealous of those people.
Yeah, no. That's awesome. Well, Ella, I was going to ask is maybe we could do, if you're down, to do a little bit of talk about your lyrics and get you to sing a little bit for us.
I feel like I could talk about my lyrics. I could sing a cappella for you. I could
Yeah,
have
a cappella.
fun.
I would love that. And I
I
loved a
think
quote that you had, something that was so inspirational. It said, I want you to believe the best about yourself. Like that is just so beautiful and so powerful. Hmm.
thanks. Yeah, I genuinely do want that.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like that's what I'm made to do, is to help other people believe the best about themselves and their lives. And that's truly what I believe my life purpose is, and my goal for other people is just for them to know with certainty that their life has purpose, and that they are amazing just the way they are. And that's why we said, excuse me, can I get your attention? Um, I mean, I could sing it.
Yeah.
Like, think there's something you're missing, so listen up. I gotta speak up, don't hold on to the lies you believe in. No matter how you're feeling, you're enough. You're strong, you're brave, you're beautiful. You're one of a kind like no one else. You're the story you tell yourself.
Woo! I love
And
it.
should have done a vocal warm up. No, just kidding.
Exactly, right? Honey,
But
where's the honey and lemon?
yeah, but I
uh,
do truly, I want everyone to believe that about themselves. It's just so important.
light attracts life, and I think the more light you put out in the world is a karma will come back, but it also leaves the world better than you found it.
I sure hope so. I sure hope that my music is doing that for people.
Yeah.
Um,
How about this? Let's say this. In 10 years from now, where do you see Ella? Where do you envision her?
like in a physical location, or just
Mentally,
dream goal wise?
spiritually, physically, career-wise? Where do you see yourself?
Okay.
What's the grand vision here?
My grand vision, I just hope that I'm doing music, can still full time. And I hope that my songs are in TV and film. Those are a couple of my personal goals. I hope I have a number one song, whether that's um, something I recorded myself or something that a friend recorded. I hope that I'm at my highest point spiritually. I hope, and I don't mean that in any kind of funny way. I mean it more just like I feel very connected to my faith. I hope I'm living it out. Volunteering. I hope I'm just super well rounded, and I would like to think I am now, but I hope that even more so that I'm just making a difference in people's lives,
Mhm.
and in terms of mentally, just still practicing gratitude, still working to even at moments believing the best about myself. I know sometimes when I have a bad thought about it myself, or I'm talking to my mom, she'll be like, remember what you said in your song, and it's like it speaks to me too sometimes, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I just hope that I'm living out my dreams. I'm achieving my goals, kind of as I mentioned, and I hope to have a family by then too. I mean, that's a hopeful thing
Fingers
as
crossed.
well.
Absolutely.
It would mean a lot to me to have all of those things. And it's things I'm working towards as well. And I'm excited for kind of the opportunities, not only for 10 years from now, but the decisions I make today that are going to impact my
Exactly.
future.
No.
Because I do think back to the moment I decided to record my first single, Where Is That Guy? And I just think of how that drastically changed my life. I was doing music more for fun prior to that. And
Mhm.
then that's really what shifted my whole life into the music industry specifically. And it's changed so much. And I look back to even, having experiences going down to Nashville too, and just thinking I never would have had that had I not released my first single, Where Is That Guy? And so, even for people who are considering a life change or who are considering taking a step towards something they believe that maybe they should try or do, I just think sometimes those choices that you make really can change your life and for the better too.
Going to Nashville must have been what an experience, the energy, the vibe, and that's your cup of tea in your industry. So you're thinking, this is all possible.
My cup of sweet tea. No, just kidding. Sorry. Um, yeah, I mean, being in Nashville is something special.
Mhm.
Just being surrounded by country music 24/7. I mean, now they have other genres there
Yes,
too
yeah.
that are becoming more popular. But even just to be surrounded by some of country music's greatest songwriters, country music's um, most famous artists. And I mean, not to say I'm hanging out with them, but to be where they go and to experience kind of where a lot of them live,
Right.
and to hear songwriters night and day share their songs. And even to hear, I remember when I first heard Lance Carpenter, he wrote one of my favorite songs by Kelsey Ballerini, Love Me Like You Mean It. And I've had the privilege of receiving feedback from him at certain times
Wow.
in my music career. But just to hear him play live and to connect with him was just a really cool experience for me. There's another songwriter who I simply adore. His name is Jeffrey Steele. He's written one of my favorite songs of all time by Rascal Flatts, My Wish. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Oh yes, yeah.
That I feel like is an iconic song. And that to me is just, I wish I wrote that song. I think it's such a meaningful song. It's my mom and I's mother-daughter song. And I had the chance to meet him there, and he was just so encouraging. And I love that people who have so much success are so humble and so encouraging to at the time I was a very new writer or new to the industry, we'll call it. And just to hear encouragement from him meant so much.
Yeah.
And so it's just cool. It's a small place. Like, I mean, the world is a small place.
Of course. It's big,
Um,
but it's small, and it's getting
yeah,
smaller with social media.
totally.
How important has hope been for you and belief of people you love? So your mom and yourself are very close. How has
Yes.
that bond been, and how does that give you the strength sometimes when, you think, I don't know if I got this. How does she help you get going?
Oh, she is my number one cheerleader,
Love it.
100%. That's what I call her. Not only is she that, she's my mom, she's my encourager. I mean, when I have moments where, I feel like everybody who's a creative has moments where they're like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the
100%.
right song? Or is this, can I continue? Should I do this? Should I do that? Like making decisions that are impacting your career, or even feeling self-conscious about decisions you're making in your career. You have to have someone you can turn to and talk to. And for me, that's my mom. And I feel like she's been there through it all. She's been there literally since the beginning. um, uh, Through my songwriting journey, through my singing journey. And I just feel incredibly grateful to have had her. I mean, my dad too, he's a great encourager. He listens to every song I write, and that means the world to me, because I feel like he and my mom are usually some of the first two people that hear my songs. That and my boyfriend, he's great too for support. But um, it's just, I'm super grateful that I have a mom and a family who support what I'm doing. And I know sometimes stepping out and doing something that's maybe unconventional to some, I'm not a doctor or nurse, or like, things that are typical. But I've decided to choose a career that, has a lot of uncertainty. And I think that in doing that, it's important to have people around you that are cheering you on and are kind of pushing you to keep going, because
Right.
at times you can get discouraged. And I mean, like anybody, I get discouraged
Oh,
at
yeah.
times. As much as I smile and I'm positive, there are moments. And it's just important to have those people around you to get you through, um, and also to cheer you on when you're doing well. I mean, it's
Mhm.
nice to know also that there's someone else who's happy for your success.
Absolutely. Ella, is there a song that's going to be released this year, or are we going to look forward to it for next year? What's it going to be like?
That's a good question. I've had a song on my mind recently
Hmm.
that I am seriously considering as a potential release. Um, I will have to get back to you on that. You'll have to
Ooh,
stay tuned, watch my social
okay,
media.
let's do
What
that.
I do have coming out soon, I can guarantee, is my music video for
Yes.
my most recent single, The Story You Tell Yourself. I'm excited for that. I filmed it in Los Angeles,
Wow.
and it's just a fun video, showcasing me in a few different locations. And I mean, it's my song. I love my song. And I just want it to encourage other people. Again, I think it's just a visual to
Hmm.
remember the song. And that's important to me. I mean, so if it's just me, but at the same time, it's like me telling the story that I want to tell, and reminding other people to, um, about the story they tell themselves. Because I think sometimes we tell ourselves a story that's not true. And I think at times, we might believe lies about ourselves, or like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not this enough for whatever we're
Hmm.
doing, for whatever goal we're trying to achieve, or for whatever job we're doing. And I think that's not what I mean when you're the story you tell yourself. What I mean is,
I don't
yeah,
think so.
definitely not that. um, I think it's sometimes changing the story you tell yourself too, because sometimes we don't tell ourselves a good story about ourselves. And I think it's important to tell yourself a good story about yourself, one that actually is true, one that even if you're, going through something difficult, that you are brave, that you are strong,
Mhm.
and that you will get through it. Or that if you don't believe you're pretty enough, you are beautiful. And it's not a lie to say that you are.
Mhm.
And it's one of those things. I feel like that this song in particular, just we tried to address common areas of feeling, or common lies people tell themselves, and kind of dispute them with an opposite, dispute them with the truth. So you're strong, you're brave, you're beautiful, one of a kind, like no one else. Sometimes, even especially in the music industry, or I don't know if you feel like this in podcasting, but it's like, oh, other people are doing the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Should I even do this? And it's like, yes, you should, because you're one of a kind. You're telling a story that other people can't tell from your perspective. You're going to sing different songs, or you're going to interview different people, or maybe even the same people, but it's not going to be the same interview because, it's you. And I think it's a matter of understanding that too, that it's just nobody can do what you're doing the way you do it.
Yeah, dancing at your own beat, singing at your own tune.
Absolutely. I completely believe in that.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Ali. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Zach. It's been awesome to connect with you. And I even just hearing your perspective on
Great.
that internal voice and hearing about that. I think we have a very similar view on that, which is really cool.
It hit home. I was like, holy smokes. And I had never heard a song on that. So that was so nice.
Oh,
It was
I'm
refreshing.
glad you found it.
Yeah, thank you.